He made those sacrifices so that she could move up and become all that she could be. It says there that he presented her and will present her eventually to himself as a radiant church without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, holy and blameless. He's basically saying this, that Jesus came, did all that he did for the sake of his bride. I mean, don't you see that in the life of Christ? Everything he did was not for himself. He was in constant deflection mode. Mr. Sulu put the shields up and they stayed up. It was never about him. He was always, from the moment he was born in a trough to the moment he died on a cross, he had his bride in mind. Are you with me? Now, husbands, that's what it is to love your wife. You give up everything so that she can become all that she can be. Now, again, that could just kind of stay out there and be just real theoretically driven. So we need to go to the next part so we can get real practical, and that's how we're going to end up today. Let's look at the next part. It says this, in the same way, verse 28, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. Write this down in your notes. Husbands need to nourish and protect their wives. Husbands need to nourish and protect their wives. It says there, in the same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. Again, allusion back to Genesis chapter 2. When it says there that a husband and wife, the two shall become, say it, one, there's basically this idea set up. That to love yourself is to indeed love your wife. And wives, to love your husband is to love yourself. Because you're no longer two, you have become one. This is not just in a physical or sexual sense. This is in your thinking. For me to love myself is to love the one who is one with me. My wife, or husband if you're a wife. You with me? That's what he said. He says, look, so guys, and guys have no problem loving themselves. All right? Let's just be honest, fellas. I mean, but we don't take a long time to get ready because we don't need no getting ready. Right? I mean, I'm as good as it's going to get, woman. You can't dress up perfection, right? I mean, that's the way it is, right? And listen, we got no problems feeding ourselves. If you're a dad sitting at a table and you're done with your plate and your kids are a little slow at theirs, that's what your fork's for. It's an extension, right? You go over to their plate, you're like, oh, that chicken looks pretty good. Dad! It's my chicken. I paid for that chicken. Settle down, Junior. Right? We got no problem, you know. You walk into the living room, someone's in your chair, out. My chair. Right? Or when you're out with your wives and you order dessert, it's one of my favorites. Honey, you want any dessert? No, I don't want any dessert. I couldn't eat another thing. And then your dessert comes. She's like, oh, that looks good. Can I have a bite? You know what I say? No. No, because you had your chance to get some pie, and you said no. And I know what you mean when you say a bite, you mean half. So if you want a piece of pie, I'll get our girl over here. She'll get you another piece of pie. But for right now, on this plate, mine. Right? Yeah, guys have no problem with that. We're good at it. And so when Paul says here, it's a logical inference. He says, listen, fellas, if you can learn to love your wives as much as you love yourself, things are going to go well in that marriage. Look what it says there. It says, after all, verse 29, no one ever hated his own body, but he feeds and cares for it. Circle those two words, feeds and cares. The word feed is the Greek word entrepho, and it basically gives us the root word for the words like trough. And it carries with it not just this feeding enough so that you don't die. It comes with it this idea of filling someone up And it's that same idea that we got from Jesus Christ loving the church. We're here, husbands, to do whatever we can, to make every sacrifice so that our wives can be filled up. They can become all that they are meant to be. And so we need to feed or nourish our wives so that we can fill them up. And then the next word there, it says that no one ever hates his body, but he feeds and he cares for it. And this is a Greek word that basically carries with it the idea of protection. You know, if someone's coming at me to, give me a noogie, I'm going to either flex or get ready to hit him back, right? I mean, there's that whole, anybody with me on this? No one ever got a, what a noogie, Charlie horse, whatever. Yeah, I mean, and we just naturally do that. If a ball's coming, that's one of my favorite tricks to do with my kids, like, heads! And there's not really a ball coming, but you just see them, like, flop on the ground, and protect themselves. It's like, you do that. But we're just naturally geared to protect our bodies. We have this natural instinct in us that when we're about to hit something or be hit by something, we get ready for impact. Roll up in a ball, whatever. Well, it's the same idea. We're meant to protect our wives. Okay. So the last bit of our time is what I want to do is I want to just spend time talking to you about how, husbands, you can nourish, fill up your wives, and protect her. We're not going to get to all of them. I'm going to try to hit the highlights. But at the end of this, and I'm going to give you your homework right now. Everybody ready? At the end of this, you're going to have a list of things. You're going to have the explanation of those things. You're going to know whether or not you're doing these things. Husbands, when you get out in your cars, what I want you to do is I want you to take your notes, and everybody takes notes on these. Take your notes. I want you to circle the 2 or 3 things that you think you're really knocking out of the park. You're really good at these. Okay, circle those. Then I want you to circle the 2 or 3 things, or make a mark by the 2 or 3 things that you don't think you're doing as well in. Now, wives, I want you to sit in the chair next to him, and I want you to take your notes, and I want you to do the same process. Circle the things that you think are going well, and then circle the things that you're like, wow, honey, we could use some work on this one. Compare notes, and have a great lunch. Remembering, wives, to encourage, and remembering, husbands, not to take offense, not to be prideful, to empty yourself of yourself, and to become the husband God wants you to be to your wife. Everybody with me on that? All right, here we go. Here's the list. First thing I want you to do, if you're going to feed your wife, if you're going to nourish your wife, you need to provide for her security. Security. Men get married for, different reasons than women. Men want to have sex. They do, ladies. I don't know if you knew that. Men want to have a helper, someone who can take care of them, all right, and provide for the home and stuff like that in whatever ways that the wife can provide. But women, here's what women want. Women want security. They want a man that they can stand behind and trust to protect them in life. Now listen. This is going to come in a bunch of different forms. First one I want to talk about is monetarily, materially. Men, I believe, in most cases, there's very rare cases where perhaps the wife has been educated and moved up through the chains of whatever command, and her job's better than his and blah, blah, blah. Okay, in our culture and our context, I'll allow for that in some situations. But a majority of us, the man in a marriage will be the breadwinner. He'll be the one who provides for that home. And rightfully so. Remember the task that Adam was given? He was in the garden, and God said to Adam, he says, listen, I want you to take the Garden of Eden, and I basically want you to care for it. I've put in everything under your dominion. And you're meant to be the provider for my creation. Be the one who cultivates and provides for your family through the creation that I've given you. And I believe, guys, it's our God-given responsibility in our homes. Now, here's the deal. I recognize that some of us are in between jobs right now. It's going to happen. Joblessness, that occurs. And a woman can handle that, just so you know. A woman's fine with that, as long as there is an effort made to provide for the family. Woe be to you, men, if you, in the wake of losing a job or something like that, if you just kind of roll up like an armadillo, or in the fetal position on your couch and play Xbox all day. Woe to you if you remove yourself, if you abdicate your role as provider and security giver for your home, and you leave that to your wife.